In 2003, Ang Lee's Hulk came out. Yep, for the first time the Incredible Hulk had Hulk smashed his way onto the big screen. And wow, talk about missing the mark. This film wasn't exactly love at first sight with the fans when it first came out, and probably left many green with anger. But, and like the Hulk's backside itself, this is a big but, in later years, many have claimed that the Hulk was a misunderstood masterpiece, and that it was just way ahead of its time. And in a day and age of generic superhero movies, Hulk is still a surreal and unique entry that stands out from the rest. Thanks to being considered too weird, too deviated from its original source material, and its terrible CGI, which many felt looked like angry Shrek, Hulk didn't exactly win any hearts in 2003. But has it managed to win any in recent years? Well, today we are going to find out by looking into 10 things that you didn't know about Hulk, commonly known these days as Ang Lee's Hulk. So let's check it out. Number 10. Hulk went into production 13 years before its release. The year is 1990, and the last made-for-TV movie based on the original Incredible Hulk TV series is broadcast, in the form of Death of the Incredible Hulk. Wow, what a Debbie Downer that was. So with this current storyline of the Incredible Hulk seemingly being wrapped up, it seemed as good a time as any to start a new Hulk universe, a movie for the big screen. Producers Avi Arad and Gale Ann Hurd, who also produced the first two Terminator movies and Aliens, both start to work on an Incredible Hulk movie. And jump 2 years later to 1992, the movie became official, with Universal Pictures getting behind the project. So in the following years, there were many ideas being thrown around as what to do with the Hulk movie, and where to take the story. Universal's original idea was to have the Hulk fighting terrorists. GoldenEye scriptwriter Michael France and fellow scriptwriter John Turman came on board to work on ideas and scripts. In those early days, General Ross was envisioned as the main antagonist, and aside from exposure to gamma rays, another cause of Bruce Banner's Hulk curse was his father. Two themes actually very prominent in the final film. Number 9. The director of Jumanji was going to direct Hulk. So in 1997, Joe Johnston was hired as director of Hulk, probably because 2 years earlier he directed Jumanji, proving that he had a vision for spectacular visuals. Jonathan Hensleigh, who wrote the script for Jumanji, was hired to write a new script for Hulk, and he incidentally is Gale Ann Hurd's husband. However, a couple of months later, after agreeing to direct Hulk, Johnston left the project to direct October Sky instead. So Hensleigh approached Universal and was like, hey, this is no problem, I can direct Hulk instead, with this being his directorial debut. Once again, more scripts and ideas were being thrown around, including a scene where the Hulk battles a school of sharks and a group of insect men. Now I would say that this is weird, but is it any weirder than the Hulk fighting a bunch of hulked up dogs? More writers were being brought on board to help with the script, including J.J. Abrams, and post-production of this Hulk movie actually started. Filming was set to start in Arizona in mid-1997, and some Hulk CGI effects were being designed, as well as prosthetic makeup being made, and the casting process had even begun. So, what happened? Well, Universal got into a panic and put the production on hold due to its ballooning $100 million budget. So this cancelled 1997 version of the movie is kind of like the Superman Lives of the Incredible Hulk. Number 8. Then Hulk was going to be a comedy. Oh god, yeah, I'm not kidding either. So Jonathan Hensleigh was then given the task to rework the script to try and get the estimated budget down. He eventually grew weary and left the production, feeling he wasted 9 months on this project. Michael France came back to work on the script, and according to France, the higher-ups at Universal just couldn't figure out if the movie was to be a science fiction adventure or a comedy. Clearly, these studio executives didn't really know much about the Incredible Hulk. France also claims that at some stage, there may have been plans to make Hulk a Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler movie. Wow, just imagine Adam Sandler as the Hulk. Truly a sight to behold. Although we can laugh about it now, I think this shows just how all over the place this production was. But as comical as things got, things then suddenly got really dark when France's script dealt with Bruce Banner being periodically beaten by his father, Brian, as a kid, with the famous tagline, "Don't make me angry," being a line that Bruce's father would use before he would beat him. Yikes! And so Bruce has grown up with anger management issues, which intensifies his Hulk curse. Wow! From Hulk possibly being a Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler movie to a really dark script about Bruce being beaten by his father as a child, this script was going from one bizarre extreme to another. Number 7. Ang Lee to the rescue. So at this stage, it was late 1999, early 2000, and yet even more scriptwriters were being brought in to work on the script. This time, the script would have seen the Hulk go up against well-known Marvel villains, including the Leader, Zax, and the Absorbing Man. Enter Ang Lee, who at the time had just had great success thanks to directing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And in 2001, he was offered 2 projects, one being Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines and the other being Hulk. Lee chose Hulk. And once again, this script would be worked on some more. Lee liked some of the earlier ideas of Bruce having a turbulent relationship with his father, as well as his father's doings being part of the cause of Banner's Hulk curse, and wanted the story to be about troubled relationships between sons and their fathers. The character of Bruce's father, Brian, was merged with the character of the Absorbing Man, giving him his own superhuman powers, with the character now being called David Banner, a wink and nudge to Bruce's name change in the Incredible Hulk TV series. Given that so many writers contributed to the script, I mean, I haven't even named them all or would be here all day, there was something of a battle as to who would be credited for writing the movie. In the end, the writing credits were given to Michael France, James Schamus, and John Turman. Number 6. The Chopper Hulk. Ang Lee's number one choice for the part was always Australian Eric Bana, as he loved his performance in the Australian crime thriller Chopper, where he played real-life Australian tough guy criminal Mark Chopper Reed. However, the higher-ups had other ideas. Several other actors considered or offered the part include Billy Crudup, Steve Buscemi, Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, Jeff Goldblum, David Duchovny, and future Hulk Edward Norton. Finally, Banner was chosen to play the part. I guess it was felt that if one unknown at the time Australian can make a classic Marvel character come to life, then another can too. Banner was happy to take the role, as by his own admission he was obsessed with the TV show. Ang Lee himself also played the Hulk, as he provided the Hulk's motion body capture, as well as providing the voice of the Hulk. The rest of the cast includes Jennifer Connelly as Bruce's ex-girlfriend Betty, and she brings a lot of heart and compassion, depicting someone that you could easily fall in love with. Nick Nolte as Bruce's villainous father, David, and it's because of Hulk we have that infamous Nolte mugshot with his crazy wiry hair, because at the time of getting arrested, Nolte grew his hair for the role of David Banner in Hulk. And of course Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross. He actually makes a really good villain. I can remember watching the movie for the first time and Elliott just made my blood boil with anger. I probably could have turned into my own Minty Hulk. Number 5. Harry Potter helped to create the Hulk. So I guess one major element concerning Hulk was how to bring the Incredible Hulk on the screen for the 21st century, moving away from the day and age of having an actor painted green, but instead looking more like something akin to what you would see in the comics. Well, joining the production of Hulk was Industrial Light and Magic to create the movie's effects and bring the Hulk to life in the movie. Well, if you can believe it, we got the Hulk as he appears in the 2003 movie thanks to this little guy. Yep, that's right, Dobby. The previous year, in 2002, Industrial Light and Magic worked on the special effects for Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and special effects software and technology that was created in order to create Dobby was then reused to create Hulk. Yep, one's tiny, one's huge, but they are both apples from the same tree. I personally find the CGI in Hulk to be very hit and miss. I appreciate that they wanted to create a big monstrous Hulk as seen in the comics. But yeah, look, there's no getting around it. It often looks very cartoony and animated, and like we're watching angry Shrek on a rampage. And this opinion isn't past tense either. I can clearly remember at the time everyone was critical of the CGI Hulk and thought that it was a bit of a letdown and looked too animated. I'm also not a big fan of the subplot that the Hulk gets bigger when he gets angrier. Now, the look of the Hulk would get better later down the track with later movies, but I guess I had to start somewhere.
Look, I know Industrial Light and Magic were doing something that had never been done before, so you have to commend them for that and not be too harsh. But seriously, if only they could have somehow rendered the Hulk a bit more. You know, make him look more organic and less like a cartoon and less crap. Makes me wonder if this was a rushed job.
Number 4. Eric Bana found the shoot to be miserable. Filming for Hulk started in March 2002 and took place in many locations, including Arizona, the San Francisco Bay Area, and several deserts in both Utah and California, as well as Universal backlot and stages in Los Angeles. Eric Bana, according to information provided by Wikipedia, felt that the shoot was really dark and morbid and serious, kind of making it sound really depressing. He would film most of his scenes on sets, while the rest of the cast were out shooting exciting stuff involving the CGI Hulk. He also felt, due to this, he had limited screen time. Ang Lee told Bana that his scenes would be like a different movie compared to the rest of the film. An art house Greek tragedy, so to speak. Whereas the Hulk scenes would be its own entire different film. I guess more like a superhero movie. And I think it shows. There are definitely two movies going on here. One with Bruce Banner, where the tone is all moody and melodramatic with heavy dialogue, and then the Hulk scenes where it's more action-packed and like a popcorn superhero movie. And oddly, once again, according to Wikipedia, in order to emphasize his art house approach to the movie, Ang Lee took Banner to a bare-knuckle boxing match. I don't quite know how bare-knuckle boxing equals art house, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a bald guy with a camera. It sounds to me like Banner may have been disappointed. He may have thought that he was going to be making this exciting action-packed superhero movie, but instead was stuck indoors doing all the quiet, morbid, serious scenes. I guess it's kind of like being cast as Superman, but never actually getting to be Superman. However, Banner said that his favourite part of working on the movie was working opposite Nick Nolte. Number 3. The movie's score was a rushed job. So then there's the issue of the music of Hulk. Well, just like everything else with this movie, it's really complicated and not as easy as it seems. Okay, so Canadian composer Mikkel Danner was hired to score the music, as he scored other Ang Lee movies, including Ride with the Devil and Ice Storm. And he did provide a score for Hulk, but it was rejected, as the studio felt that his music just didn't go with the tone of the movie. With just 3 months till the movie's release, Danny Elfman was rushed in, and really only had 37 days to make the score. Elfman was riding on the success of Spider-Man at that time, having just scored that movie, of which his Spider-Man score was very successful. So he was kind of the king of superhero scores at that time. Elfman actually took inspiration from Bernard Herrmann for his Hulk music and his suspenseful scores he composed for Alfred Hitchcock. And yeah, knowing that, his Hulk music does sound like Danny Elfman taking his Bernard Herrmann pills. Now the score I absolutely do love. It sounds suspenseful, superhero-esque, but it also sounds classic and even timeless. And I don't think it gets anywhere near as much recognition as it should.
Seriously, more justice for the Danny Elfman Hulk score.
Number 2. Sequel repackaged. When Eric Bana signed on to play Bruce Banner, he actually signed a 3-picture deal, so the plan was to make a Hulk trilogy. However, after the Hulk didn't quite go to plan or resonate with its audience, it was decided to go in the direction of a reboot, where we got 2008's The Incredible Hulk, which now starred Edward Norton as Banner, a movie of which itself, along with the first Iron Man movie, was the start of a larger shared Marvel universe, which would become the MCU. However, there are claims that the 2008 Incredible Hulk reboot is from a script that was originally a sequel to 2003's Hulk, the leftover sequel so to speak, only repackaged into its own movie. And there are many elements that tie the two movies together. The 2003 Hulk ends with Banner in South America, and The Incredible Hulk also starts with Banner in South America. Thunderbolt Ross is back as the main antagonist, still trying to track Banner down, and Betty is back once again as a love interest that is caught in between her love for Bruce and her father. In fact, when The Incredible Hulk came out, many of my friends actually thought that it was a sequel. The only things that cut off its ties to the 2003 Hulk is that Banner is now played by Norton, as mentioned, and it's also explained that Banner is the Hulk simply because of the gamma ray exposure, in a chair similar to the old TV show, and not because Banner's father was doing experiments with starfish or some shit, whatever that subplot was. Despite this though, The Incredible Hulk would have its own problems, and just like Eric Bana, Edward Norton also wouldn't return. But that's a story for another time. Number 1. Reactions to Hulk were not so incredible. After the recent release of Spider-Man, which was a huge hit, there was now eager buzz and anticipation to see what the Hulk had in store for us. In fact, I can remember going to a movie theatre to see Spider-Man and being hyped as hell to see it. And before the movie started, a trailer for Hulk was shown. Then I was even more hyped. And I left the theatre thinking, wow, if this Spider-Man movie is anything to go by, I can't wait to see what they do with the Hulk movie. So Hulk came out and it had a very impressive opening and broke records and reached great heights of financial success for an opening weekend. But in its second week in the box office, it suffered a 70% drop. And all up, it would make $245 million on a $137 million budget. So it wasn't a disaster, and it did make money, but it also wasn't the knockout success the studio were hoping for either. Hulk also got very mixed reactions from critics and fans. Although there were praises over the movie's direction, maturity, and acting performances, it was also heavily criticized for its CGI and long scenes of characters just talking, feeling like an overly melodramatic superhero daytime soap drama than a proactive superhero spectacle. And I think people just found it too weird and too moody. I honestly didn't know what to think of it the first time I saw it, and I do think there are two movies going on. On one hand, Ang Lee wanted to make an art house movie about the strained relations between a father and son, with the movie feeling like a drama, screaming to be taken very seriously. But on the other hand, he also wants it to be a lively, flashy comic book, complete with comic book panel stylized transitions. At the time, I thought the two styles do not mix well at all. I thought either make a dramatic Hulk melodrama or an all-out live comic book movie, which would actually be better suited to this live-action comic book aesthetic. But yeah, once again, the two styles just don't gel together. In my opinion, of course. I mean, let's not forget, this is all subjective on my part. It's like Lee really wanted to make an art house drama, but also wanted to make a comic book spectacle too. So, he had his cake and ate it, and made both. There are some parts of the movie where it even feels like it kind of goes into David Lynch levels of surrealness. Now, take the as mentioned Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie. Say what you want to say about that movie. Despite its serious moments, it starts off as a fun popcorn flick and ends as a fun popcorn flick and doesn't deviate in between. It knows exactly what it is. Hulk goes into different tangents of surreal editing, then comic book graphics, then serious melodrama, then CGI Hulks running around. It doesn't have a consistent tone. Also, when watching it for the first time, it was really hard to get into it, as it took ages to get to the point. To me, the long scenes of characters talking was kind of a slog to get through, and made it feel like a very long movie. Seriously, very long talking scenes, making it feel so serious and dramatic. It's like, lighten up, it's the Incredible Hulk, not A Beautiful Mind. Is this the Incredible Hulk or the Incredible Sulk? I also didn't like the deviations from the comics. Having Banner's Hulk condition also being part of experiments that his father did that were passed on to him just really unnecessarily overcomplicated things. And once again, because of this update, it takes too long to get to the point. The Hulk of the movie, so to speak. It shouldn't be this complicated. It should simply be, Banner has an accident, now he's the Hulk, boom! There's your backstory done, now let's get to the meat and potatoes of the film. So, for its time, Hulk was considered a failed effort. So much so, after its release, Ang Lee supposedly considered retiring from making movies. Thankfully, he did not. However, in recent years, Hulk has achieved more fan appreciation by people who not only believe it's a good movie, but a very powerful one too, and that it was just misunderstood for its time. A post on Reddit once again pointed out that Hulk is a powerful movie that explores themes of trauma and repression of dealing with toxic parental abuse, further calling it a deeply sad, emotionally driven affair. And an article by GQ states that Hulk was just too smart and too weird for its time. Now, I don't know if I agree with the too smart sentiment. That's like saying to the audience, well, you were just too dumb to appreciate it. But maybe the movie did have themes that we weren't ready for at the time. Maybe it did deep dive into uncomfortable places that we just didn't want to explore yet. Maybe after the popcorn fun of Spider-Man, we just wanted another one of those and didn't really want a Greek tragedy about toxic parents. Either way, upon re-watching the movie and removing my preconceived biases, there are things that I now really do appreciate. There are even parts of the movie I really love. And there are other parts not so much. But I do think it's an interesting movie that shouldn't be shrugged off and does deserve a re-evaluation. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but I think it has guts and wanted to do its own thing and challenge the viewer and do things never done in a superhero movie before. So I say maybe it's time we all went back and gave Hulk more love. It may not be the perfect Hulk movie. Maybe the perfect Hulk movie is yet to happen, but there definitely is no other cinematic Hulk like it.
Yep, Ang Lee's Hulk is definitely a Hulk movie that hurts and gets you in the feels. There is more Hulk emotions than there is Hulk smash. But once again, that just makes it all the more unique. So it does have some really good things in it, but it does also have some really bad things in it too. Sorry, but it does. But if you can get over the bad shitty things, then you can probably enjoy the good things. Anyway, I'm Minty, and I'm just glad that chopped up starfish didn't become canon in the Hulk's origin. Seriously, what on earth? See ya!